everyone, we are back and we are waiting for Jet Setting Jasmine, who is our second centerfold in our honey pot edition. Let me call her and see if she can. It's always tricky, right? Finding your friends on here. And this is definitely the most live we've ever done in a short period of time. So bear with me. And of course it's hard to type on this. All right, hopefully she'll see me. She might be at a different one. Sorry. Let's see. I'm gonna go on. Oh, here she is. Yay. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Jasmine.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. I'm just taking a break from being inside. Finally, off of work mostly. Happy 420.
Happy 420. It looks sunny where you are, or warm.
It is warm and the sun is kind of setting, but it's nice. I'm in Florida.
Right. Well, you look beautiful as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll ask you later about your cheekbones when we're not on. Great. Well, thanks for joining us. Did you guys do anything special today? I know it's been pretty crazy.
So it's been a work day and the family's home day. So it's probably going to be a more exciting evening. And we kind of brought in the holiday quite nice last night.
Oh, you and King.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, my partner and I, who also creative directed the issue, watched the Erica Lust porn.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Did you enjoy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely. Yeah. Very cool.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You guys have such a great rapport.
Thank you.
And King, obviously. And tell us again how long you've been together.
We've been together, gosh, it's probably been like 9 or 10 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started out working together, so, kind of lost track of when things became like official.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Are the kids home today too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Every day for the last going on 2 months now.
Right. So wanted to talk to you about the issue. I'll flip around. We've got your, gorgeous.
Ah, that's so exciting.
Gorgeous centerfold here.
Thank you.
And maybe tell us a little bit about the photographers you worked with.
Yeah. So the first one at the top of the crown, that was with a photographer. Her name is Moombi. And we met Moombi within the first day of landing in Kenya. Last year, we went on a trip to Nairobi, Kenya to do some sex positive education. And so that was that one. And the second one is with a relatively new photographer, a veteran artist, but now dabbling in erotic photography. His name is Keenan Chapman. And we were doing a lactation and erotic shoot. So that was pretty cool. And the last one, I don't know if you can, there it goes, is with Therese Love. So a photographer right out of Brooklyn, New York. And he just does phenomenal work. So that was the last time one of the last times I was in New York. Yeah.
Awesome. And in the article, Jasmine talks about her perspectives on cannabis, CBD, as a mom, as a health practitioner, and talk a little bit just about the stigmas. I mean, what I found interesting was you kind of ride that delicate line between legality, not legal, good, bad, but having definitely clear boundaries, and I thought that was interesting.
Thanks for bringing that up. because I do think it is an important piece. I mean, I think, you know, not just in today's kids culture around drugs and substances, but I think all all along the continuum, you know, people hurt themselves with things that are legal all the time, right? Kind of just thinking about anything from over-the-counter medication to horse playing at the pool, right? Like anything in excess or that's done carelessly or without any type of, I don't know, guidance or education can result in something, some consequences, unintended consequences. So I try really, really, really hard to carry that same approach across the board with everything with my kids. And there are some hot topics where you want to be a little hypocritical, right? Like, oh, now my kid is like smoking pot or experimenting with drugs or um, you know, just really anything, again, driving, you know, that's like something really simple that we approach as parents, like, oh no, like I don't want my kids to drive. But we have to allow them those freedoms and we have to teach them how to make good decisions. So when it comes to cannabis, one of the really interesting things are like I was raised in a time where it was illegal. So it's really, really easy for parents to just go like, don't use that, it's illegal, that's it. But now that policies have changed and attitudes have changed, our kids travel. My oldest has traveled to, you know, several countries since she's been 18 in several states. Where are my boundaries then? So just talking about legality of things is not enough. We really have to talk about attitudes, value sets, consequences, risks, rewards, and benefits. And they've been able to make their own decision and their own attitudes based on having good decision-making skills. Not, they don't necessarily have to share my attitude. And I feel the same way about my clients from a therapeutic standpoint. My job is to support the decision making of my clients, help them make the best decisions for them, not impart my, you know, my personal views on them. So it is a very fine line. And I just want to encourage people to do what works for them, do what works for their family, do what's going to keep them safe in on all fronts. And sometimes that's using.
Right. And how do you ride that line between being sort of like, you know, you're so cool and youthful and so like young, yeah. I mean, young mom, cool friend, and then also like, you know, like I was saying, these boundaries and obviously very thought out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So one of the things that's important in our household is I really don't ever identify as my kid's friend. And the reason why, like, I can be friendly with my children, right? But the reason why I don't frame myself as their friend is because sometimes we get unclear if friends are telling us things because it's in their best interest or ours. If our friends are telling us things because they're paying attention and they really do have sage advice for us, or if they're just kind of saying the trendy response to something. And I mean, many of us have really good, lifelong, true, loyal friends, but it has taken many years to develop those kind of friendships, right? And so for my children, I don't think that they have gotten to that point, and they can still make the distinction between my friend may be either a bit fickle or not necessarily have my best interest in mind at all times. My mother will always have my best interest in mind. And so I don't ever want to be confused with being their friend, but I do want a friendly relationship with them with respect to, we could talk about things. I can tell you why I think this is in your best interest and where I can share my experience honestly. And with my kids, we're always talking about like, yeah, I can see why you want to do that. I did the same thing when I was 18. And these are the things that went well about it, and these are the things that didn't. So if you choose to do these things, like, I just want you to consider what the consequences are. And that has helped them make good, healthy decisions. Not that they don't make mistakes, they certainly do. And sometimes they'll say, like, I just wanted to see for myself. Okay. You know, there's whatever the natural consequences that are associated with that. I've always allowed my kids to punish themselves. They are so much harder on themselves than I could ever be. And that has helped me, where it's like I still am the disciplinarian as their mom, but the part that may seem cool but is way more effective is allowing them to be accountable for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's more about challenging kind of the way that I was raised, more so than like trying to be friendly, trying to be cool, trying to be liked by my children. I just really want an open relationship with them. And if like my goal is to challenge the way that I was raised with hopes of them having a better and easier adulthood. So that's kind of how I approach pretty much everything.
Thank you. Very eloquent. So how did you feel about being a centerfold?
Oh my gosh. I'm ready till I was almost 40 years old to be a centerfold in a magazine. That is a pretty big freaking deal.
Awesome. And I feel like just as a publisher, as a woman, and as a thinking person, it's hard to talk about centerfolds without thinking about, race and just the, lineage of white, black versus black women and just the representation of women, certainly ageism as well.
Right.
But I feel like racially even more for some reason. And just, wondered how you felt about that or,
Yeah, well, I definitely love the diversity of this particular issue and who you chose as centerfolds and why, and really the messaging behind that, and the, women under the influence. That speaks in so many ways to our society right now. And how, I mean, we know how valuable we are, but you just really drawing out the diversity and the value that we bring to every industry. And I can go on and on and on. I also, we shared a little bit when I was sharing my excitement with the issue, and I mentioned that this is a time capsule. This particular issue is a time capsule. And yes, in the sense of it being your first digital, that piece, the first one that you're putting out in the middle of this pandemic, but also just the content itself and putting such a focus on women and our relationship to the plant when that has been such a taboo topic. Women under any influence, legal or illegal, has been, women under our own influence has been a very, politically charged topic, religiously charged topic, all kinds of things, all kinds of intersections. And then also because of the historic relationship between people of color and justice or lack thereof around marijuana. So to be able to be a centerfold as a professional woman, a sex worker, and also academic professional or traditionally professional woman, as an advocate for cannabis, that's like pushing like all of like all the things you don't do, like you don't stand up and say. And then also pushing against a lot of stereotypes around Black women. So I thank you for having me as a representation. I certainly don't represent all women or all Black women, but it feels good to represent myself in all of those areas that I intersect in your publication.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I was aware sort of singularly about all those elements, but actually not how they all came together like that for you. Or
really beautifully. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. And so just kind of overall, historically, contextually speaking, how do you see the criminal justice, racial divide, I guess in your lifetime, kind of the progression? Has it progressed? Is it progressing?
So there's so many facets. I'm just going to move away from that fan that's going off. So there's so many facets. It's really, really, really hard to kind of chop at all of it for our conversation tonight. We could definitely go on and come back to this for sure. But the part that is the most challenging for me, and I'll say that it comes from an emotional standpoint and an economic standpoint, that I find the most impact with how things have happened racially within the context to social justice, criminal justice, and economic justice, is so many people that have seen the recreational and medicinal benefits of this plant for many, many years, and have created a really like a communal economy with it, have suffered the consequences of it being an illegal substance. And it's justifiable. It's kind of like if we just look at it from the basis of it was against the law, they broke the law, they're paying the consequences. Okay. the part that is really painful is seeing these people who've been pioneers in marketing the plant, using the plant, and educating about the plant being completely marginalized from this industry that is changing the lives financially, psychologically, emotionally, like all the ways that booming business, and the booming business is something that is incredibly beneficial to people. So it's almost like kind of like the usual way of colonizing any and everything. You know, it's like make it a bad thing, make people think it's a bad thing, let that bad thing mature, grow the demand around it, you know,
Put people in jail for it.
put people, well, and even with that, like what you're doing there is capitalizing, you know, exploit the people that are doing the research, the legwork, building the market, building the branding, building the culture behind it. Let's get rid of them, remove them, and let's appropriate this culture, and let's make financial gains on it. And so that, all that being said, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I do understand, watch the market, watch the trends, watch people's behaviors, and you certainly capitalize on that. But it should be known it's on the backs of, you know, of those who have been completely marginalized from something that they've specialized from in the past. It just, and I'm going to make this parallel, and then we can circle back to, but it kind of reminds me of, since the article deals with COVID-19 also, how when people come to this country as doctors, lawyers, or people that were native to this country, have been practicing medicine and other types of body and healing work, and we marginalize them. No, this is not good, you know, not good science, not good medicine, not good practices. And then we become in an emergency pandemic situation, and we are taking volunteers from other countries that hold now equal credentials. You know, so it's okay for people who have not been able to apply for a job in a hospital in the past to, you know, in the past it wasn't okay for them to practice medicine, but now we're making exceptions. So it's just that hypocritical nature of kind of how we do business as a country, as a culture. And it is painful when you know people who would be wonderful at building, continuing to build up legal cannabis, THC, CBD in our communities, who know our communities, know the people in our communities, and they can't, they're barred from it. So however the chips land, I just have to share like my impact on, have we made progress? Yes. Have we left people behind in the progress? Yes. Key people? Absolutely. And it's a sting. It is bittersweet. And I say it's bittersweet because I, you know, don't turn my back on the cannabis industry. I embrace it fully, but not without, you know, that historical context.
Yeah.
I know that was a lot. That was a big old answer.
No, we love your answers. Thank you. I mean, like you said, that's a days long, years long conversation that actually doesn't even have an ending. So
Yeah, good point.
yeah. I guess just, you know, our last question, you know, we had drag queen Laganja Stranja, and we love her as a representation of femininity, obviously, because it's a fluid thing, you know.
Yes.
And as dominant women, or you know, women who are in possession of themselves, you can feel masculine sometimes, or feminine, and take charge or be submissive. So how did you feel about having Laganja as the cover of the magazine that you were in?
I love it. I mean, it speaks to all of my ideas about freedom of expression, right? I love the gender fluidity aspect, like you mentioned. It, again, is that time capsule of where we are embracing so many different aspects of our ways of expression. And like, again, all of those intersections come through in the people that you had as centerfold. So I love it. It speaks to a great time in my life where I'm embracing my own sexuality and bringing others on my journey, and then others that are out there inspiring us to just to live our lives to the fullest. And like, there's a space for us. there's plenty of space for us, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's become my motto. If the world feels too small, make it bigger.
Make it bigger. That's right. I love
You
it.
know. So, well, thank you for joining us, and you guys should all check out Jasmine's gorgeous
Thank you.
centerfold, hshoneypot.com. Do you want to tell us some stuff you're up to? Anything you wanted to mention?
Lots going on. Just follow the page, Jet Setting Jasmine here, Jet Set Jasmine on Twitter, and King and I are just creating content while we are at home, digging through the archives. So there's going to be lots of that, and kind of taking things day by day, and again, just seeing, you know, where things go for all of us, so we can eventually get back to traveling and providing more face-to-face education. But we're getting used to the virtual way, and whatever it takes to keep us all safe and here for the long run.
And we look forward to more porn and politics columns with Jet Setting Jasmine and King Noir real soon. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Bye now.
It was great seeing you. Bye.
Thanks.